Gloves off, camera one. Hello! Hey, welcome. This is the Genesee County Compassion Club Show. How's everybody doing today? I'm your host, Jeremy. I'm glad to be back in the studio here at allpointstv.com. Man, it's a beautiful day. It's summer's kicking. What is it, the second day of summer, John?
Officially, yes.
Second day of summer. And it's, if you're not here in Michigan, you don't know what I'm talking about. Well, the rest of the country's pretty hot too, but it is hot here. It is hot and humid, and it feels like summer. So,
yeah, we had a weird one, though. So far, I mean, it just felt like a week ago. It was really mild. I mean, like, you didn't have much snow. We had a couple of weeks before that.
It gets hot in the day and cools off at night. You know, it's just kind of nice.
Yeah, you sleep well.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, that's John behind the camera. He's the dude that makes it happen here at allpointstv.com. Joining in the conversation. I always appreciate it. Man, it's good to be back in the studio. I was off last week. I caught the summer cold. I mean, what gives? I don't remember ever getting sick when I was a kid in the summertime, but apparently now that I'm older, I do, and that sucks. I don't know if I'm getting weaker or colds are getting stronger. I'm thinking it's the latter.
Well, you have kids around you too, don't you?
Yeah, but, you know.
You were a kid at one time yourself.
Right,
so.
Yeah, that's no excuse.
Just zinc and vitamin C, that's it.
That's what they say. And actually, I did. I used zinc and vitamin C. I also used colloidal, I'm probably not saying that right, colloidal silver. You ingest that, and I use those. They're both holistic, helping, healing method type things. You know what I mean? You can pick them up at the Growing Concern next door to the Genesee County Compassion Club, just by chance.
That stuff does work.
It does work. I had the breath spray, vitamin C with zinc, and you can feel it instantly. As soon as it hits your throat, you spray it in there. And you can feel relief instantly. It's pretty cool what natural medicine does versus, running out to the doctor and getting that prescription or whatever. So I think that's why the colds are stronger now, is because it's been everybody's instinct for the last 20 years to, catch a sniffle and run to the doctor. And then we start introducing all these antibodies, antivirus stuff, and it's like things mutate and they get stronger. And then, next thing you know, now we got super flus and, people like myself catching sinus infections or whatever it was, upper respiratory issues in the middle of doggone summer. What's up with that? And I'm not allergic to crap. So everybody asks me, do you have allergies? No, I don't have freaking allergies. So, but I sure did feel like it. So, hey, now's the time to make sure you can do some preventative medicine if you're not feeling sick. It's always a good time. Stop by the Holistic Center, the Growing Concern, next to the club. Pick up some of those vitamins. Pick up some silver. The stuff's like a natural antiseptic. It's good stuff. But moving on anyways, hey, like I said, it's good to be back in the studio here at allpointstv.com. We're going to share some information with you today about medical marijuana. That's what we like to talk about here on this show. We're going to let you know what's happening down at the Genesee County Compassion Club and get you updated with medical marijuana news from around the country and around your state. So let's get started. First thing that's going on down at the Genesee County Compassion Club, we've got our big party coming up here, and this is going to be our, call it the 710 party. I believe we're doing it on 7-Eleven. But at any rate, it's our celebration of concentrates and other forms of cannabis. We're going to be doing that this year down at the club, like I said, on 7-Eleven. Should be a lot of fun. It's a regular day that we're open. There's no extra charge to come down and celebrate with us. So if you're a member, you can come down, join the party. It's going to be a good time. We're going to have lots of food there. The hot dog guy is going to come out. It's just a celebration. It's going to be an extra special day, and we want you to come join and have fun with us. If you're not a member, you can be one. It's easy. Get your medical marijuana card if you haven't. You got to have that, and then you come down and join and join us. It'll be a blast. So it's 7-Eleven. Mark your calendars for that. Before that, we've got our soup kitchen coming up. That'll be coming up last Friday here, just a couple days from now, down at the North End Soup Kitchen for the Catholic Charities right here in Flint off of Stewart Street. So come on down, hang out with us on the afternoon, help us serve, help us help out the needy, and also you get fed for doing so. So it's a pretty good deal and something like that, something that we like to be a part of. So we're happy and privileged to be able to do so. So come volunteer with us if you can. All right. Still feeling a little bit from last week's cold, so bear with me this week. Try to get through this, but I do have a couple special things that are going to help me out. They're going to give me just a short break, actually, 120 seconds to be exact. A couple people from the club have been working hard on this. Brian, especially, also Hippie, better known as Patrick, or better known as Hippie, I should say, and a few other folks as well, so I don't want to cut anybody out of the loop. But we've got a special segment that I want to share with you today on the show. This is called 120 Seconds. So, John, if you could cue that up for the folks. show them what it's all about, and this is a way for you to get another insight into what's going down at the Genesee County Compassion Club. So check it out. John?
Okay, hold on here a second. Oh boy, catcher. Okay.
G3C's 120 seconds.
With each episode and the short amount of time we have together, I plan to entertain you with information on a variety of topics. Art and local artists, area musicians including rapper and medical marijuana enthusiast Greg Joslin, and with little luck, Kyle from the Michigan-based metal band Battlecross. In future episodes, we will discuss sports including G3C's participation in golfing and charity softball events for area charities, and catch up with former Detroit Red Wing and G3C member Darren McCarty. I've talked with G3C members and patients and caregivers about issues that are important to our club and the work they do serving the community, shedding a positive light on the medical marijuana industry. I'll attempt to talk with community activists and find out what they're thinking about and how to better our community, and of course, bring you buds, bongs, and dabbing along. So whether you think 120 seconds is a short amount of time or a long time, a lot can be done in 120 seconds. What will you do with yours? I'm Brian Orr, and this is G3C's 120 Seconds.
Oh, all right, I'm back. I don't think I have a camera, John. Do I have a camera? There we are. See the light. So, hey, I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was our first segment of 120 seconds. Pretty exciting stuff. Thank you, Brian, for doing that. That's pretty awesome. I've actually got another episode I'm going to share with you guys this week. We've been working on these for some time now, and so we're going to let you guys go ahead and see those. But, John, you ready to roll that second one there?
Yep, ready to go.
All right, so here we go. This is the second episode of 120 seconds. Roll!
God, that camera was on. Well, you did something. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
I'm Brian Orr, and this is G3C's 120 seconds.
Oh, do I look good? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And go. Hi.
Hi. Today I'm here with Kyle from the Michigan-based metal band Battlecross.
Yeah.
I guess we'll start with you getting ready to go on tour, as a matter of fact, with Soulfly, Suffocation, among others. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Starting in Texas, we're, I think, going up and around and doing the whole thing. So we got 4 weeks, so real excited for that.
So that'd be like a circle pit kind of motion?
Pretty much, just like a bunch of windmills and circle pits. So that'll be pretty sweet.
And how's the reception to the new record?
Oh, great. We love it. It didn't go down, so as long as we don't go down, it's a nice plus.
You're a member of G3C, obviously, and
yeah.
how'd you get involved? And I know you've participated in the soup kitchen, stuff like that. And what got you involved in that?
Actually, like I was here in the beginning. That bench right there, I hauled out of my party. My buddy had a party house, and we used to throw like awesome shows there, like just ragers. And when he was moving out, he was like, well, let's just take the bar, and they wanted a bar up here, so I hauled that thing. Here, see this thing? I moved that there.
Now to the very, very important questions that a lot of the members want to know. It starts with doobies or bowls?
Bowls.
Very nice, very nice. Bongs or dabs?
I can't do either of those. Yeah, I'm sorry. Dabs get me too high.
That happens.
Yeah.
All right, well, that is, I believe, all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank Kyle from Battlecross for joining us today. You're watching G3C's 120 Seconds. I'm Brian Orr.
I'm Gumby.
Woohoo!
All right, there we go. That was awesome.
Sorry about the unsmoothness of that. It's like, okay, now we're at. Oh, damn.
That's all right. We're working out the kinks here. It's only two of us getting it done here, and John does an amazing job. I mean, check out the background now. I'm completely shattered out. It's freaking awesome. But yeah, no, thank you, John. You did a great job, and thank you, Brian and Gumby, for coming on and busting out another episode. Brian, that's awesome. 120 seconds, a beautiful thing. Lets people know, hey, we got a lot of people down that are members at the club, a lot of interesting folks. Let us get to know them a little bit better. And for those of you that are metalheads out there, Battlecross is an amazing band. You can check them out. Obviously, Kyle Gumby, as we all know him, a longtime club member. Like you said, I mean, pieces of the club are there because of that guy. Check out their band. They put on a fantastic show from what I've been told. And like I said, I mean, it's freaking sweet. So
those segments are well done, by the way. Tips up, pass that on from one person who does this stuff to the person who did that.
Right on. Well, I will let Brian know. Hopefully he's watching this episode and he can hear you say so. So we definitely appreciate that. I mean, it's kind of fun. Another angle of the club, another thing that we're all about, because really our club is made up of, I think we're over 16,000 members, probably higher than that now. It's made up of people, and that's the best thing about this, is that it's made up by us, for us. It's giant FUBU. You know what I'm saying? All right, I got some news I want to share with you this week. We're moving on to other titles, issues, whatnot. Obviously, Brian mentioned there that we got the soup kitchen events and so on. I mean, we try to do a lot of different events out there in the community, so forth. We got our 710 party coming up and so on. Make sure you remember all those events. But let's get into the news now and talk to you a little bit about what's happening here. When I walked into the club today, I was kind of thrown a fury of questions about Schedule 2. Rescheduling primarily is what we're talking about here. Federal drug rescheduling. Just want to put this out there for you folks that heard the rumor. It's not true. There is not going to be any foreseen rescheduling of marijuana at a federal level. I mean, if there is, it's not going to be for a while. There's no official announcements been made. Nothing's been done. It's a hoax. You can look it up on Snopes if you want to, all right? It's bull crap. There was some guy who identified himself as a DEA attorney, didn't even give his name, was quoted in some California newspaper as saying he had an inside scoop. Basically, the DEA came out yesterday and confirmed that guy's got nothing, all right? It says here that they have no time frame. They're not going to give us any information. DEA is very tight-lipped about this. And, quite frankly, I don't even know if it's the DEA's actual ability, I don't know if they have it in their jurisdiction, however you want to put that, to change the federal drug scheduling. It was originally put in by Nixon, who put it in through an executive order. So
those people are Obama supporters, and always glad he's doing such a great job. He could have used one of his executive orders to reclassify this.
Now would be the time. If Obama is going to do something, during his lame duck session, whatever, as he's moving on out of the presidency, if there ever was a time that people said Obama's going to do something, now's the time for Obama to do something. And there really isn't anything on the radar that's indicating that is going to happen whatsoever. So for those of you that heard marijuana is going to get rescheduled to Schedule 2, that is not true. And quite frankly, we do not want that to happen. And a lot of you folks might say, what? This sounds crazy. Of course you want marijuana to be descheduled. It shouldn't be criminalized. Well, the devil's in the detail, folks. And Schedule 2 does not do anybody any good. Schedule 2 is only for highly restricted pharmaceutical class drugs. We're talking stuff like oxycodone. This is the heavy duty stuff. And nowhere, no way, no shape, no how does marijuana belong in the same class as those drugs. And actually, Michigan has a set of bills that they've already passed that say if marijuana is rescheduled to Schedule 2, then we'll allow Canadian companies to come in here and start producing it pharmaceutically. So Michigan, you get a double whammy if that were to occur, not only on a federal level, but then directly right here in our own state. So a Schedule 2 is not what you folks want. So if that comes up in the news and sometime in the future when it is actually, like a reality, and it's not just some newspaper baloney, okay, basically rumors, all right, you're going to want to have your head on straight about that one, because rescheduling is a very slippery slope. It's a sticky path. And it's something that has to be looked at very carefully. We need marijuana to be rescheduled, like taken off the schedule. That's what you need. You want it to be free. You want it to be legal. You want to be, no longer going to jail for having it. You want it to be completely descheduled, not rescheduled. All right, folks? So, but I did want to put that rumor to bed, if you will, because it's a nasty rumor. It's not a good thing, even if it were to happen. And it's not anything you want to have happen. All right? You want it descheduled, not rescheduled. Okay? All right, moving on here. I'm going to cover a couple other stories this week. There is a very interesting article, I thought anyways, I want to share with you guys. And, Colorado being the leader, I think of one of the leaders in marijuana, obviously, for the country, being the first out there to really get their adult recreational program up and rolling. We can get a lot of information from that. We can extrapolate experiences, look at statistics, and say, okay, when this occurs, here are the ancillary results. And one of those, obviously, is going to be looking at teen marijuana use. A lot of folks have the impression that if marijuana was legalized for adult recreational use, or even in states that don't have medical marijuana programs, and they're saying, well, if we give people medical marijuana, then our teens are going to start smoking pot. Well, first of all, let me clue you in, folks. Teens who want to smoke pot already do, okay? No question there. If you haven't been, above ground in the last 40 years, then maybe that's news to you. But at any rate, what I'm trying to get at here is there's a recent report that came out of Colorado that is suggesting that teen use actually has gone down in Colorado since they've legalized marijuana use for adult purposes, adult recreational purposes. So let me read the article to you here. This is from, in fact, it's from, let me see here, Reuters, so you can look this up and check me on this. It says here, the biannual poll by Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment showed the percentage of high school students indulging in marijuana in Colorado was smaller than the national average among teens. It says, according to the department, 21% of Colorado high school students surveyed in 2015 had used marijuana during the preceding 30 days, down from 22% the previous year, 2011. Excuse me. It says nationwide, the rate of pot use by teens is slightly higher at 21.7. So, we're splitting the needle here, I realize that. But for what it's worth, teen marijuana use in Colorado has gone down, and it is lower than the national average. So I think that right there is an actual fact that you can look at that debunks the myth that says, okay, if we go ahead and allow people to use this for medicinal purposes or for recreational purposes on an adult scale, it directly affects our youth, and that is a lie. It is not happening, and we've got now statistics and information that we can look at and show proof of. So I think that's a good thing. Excuse me. I think it's an excellent thing, and it's nice to have other states that you can look at. So I think as Michigan moves forward, Michigan needs to look at what's already being done. Quit trying to reinvent the wheel here. And unfortunately, that's what's going on. Some folks in Michigan feel that they know best, that they can craft their own market for themselves. They can create science out of thin air and apply it and have it be used as law. And unfortunately, or I guess I should say, fortunately, that's not the way things should be. But we do seem to have some detractors of truth, and I want to point this out to you because, excuse me, my cold's still kicking my butt. But I want to point this out to you because this is a good example of what's going on here in Michigan politics, and a good example of what's going on in government in general. All right, in Michigan right now, we've got a pilot program that has just recently been passed by the Michigan Senate, and this is a program that's been pushed by a few select senators in Michigan for a few years now. It's been on their agenda. I don't know if they work for these product companies on the side or if they're just big fans of law enforcement. In fact, I'm sure some of them are big fans of law enforcement. But at any rate, here's what the deal is. Michigan State Police will select 5 counties for a pilot program. Test will be conducted by officers who complete specialized training, and a positive test leads to an on-site arrest for drug driving, which is already illegal but difficult to assess. This is from the Detroit News I'm reading to you. This is, quote here, it says, "This has been needed way back when I was a police officer for 31 years. Oh, thank you, John. Pause. All right, thank you. Sorry about that. All right, so getting back to the article here, Detroit News says here this quote, "This has been needed way back when I was a police officer for 31 years," says sponsoring Senator Rick Jones from Republican in Grand Ledge, former sheriff in Eaton County. "You've got to have a way to test for drugs, and this is a simple saliva system. It has a little plastic spoon with a sponge on it. You put it in a test tube, and in a few minutes you know if somebody's on cocaine, heroin, meth, or marijuana." Well, the thing that he's failing to point out is that this test here has less than a 50% accuracy rate. It does not differentiate whether a person is actually high on a substance and being impaired, or if it just is in their bloodstream, which is certainly a concern for people who are medical marijuana patients. It doesn't separate who is on what. So as he stated there could be multiple different substances tested for. It's not necessarily going to indicate to the officer which one it was that you ID'd for. Now you're on your way to a blood test. It seems to me that we've got a lot of additional costs wrapped up in this program, and it seems above and beyond all of that Michigan citizens are being used as some sort of a test subject, which I think is a little bit ridiculous, seeing how we're actually including someone's freedom attached to the win or lose of this particular test.
Well, the years ago, back in the 80s, and the big thing was for cocaine, a lot of those cocaine tests would actually come up positive if you had consumed a sesame or poppy seed bagel or something like that. So I mean, it's an alkaloid, and that's what it tests for, the residual. And there's many natural occurring things that are not, something used for like recreational drugs or even medicinal drugs that have alkaloid compounds in it. So,
well, in this particular program has some very damning things about it, because for a medical marijuana patient in Michigan, marijuana can stay in a person's blood for up to 30 days, sometimes even more in certain cases. It does not mean that person is necessarily high on marijuana or were impaired while they were operating their vehicle. It just simply would point out that they still have this THC in their bloodstream. So I think that's right there is kind of a damning thing for folks that obviously have the ability to use medical marijuana here in the state, certainly don't have an ability to drive impaired, but they can make that distinction. And this law here doesn't make a distinction for those folks. Again, I think we need to go back to relying on our officers' ability to do a roadside sobriety test instead of some machine that we're paying thousands of dollars for. So let me get to that. It says here, according to the ad here, the program costs the state police roughly $30,000, according to the House Fiscal Agency, including a $6,000 apiece for a series of oral fluid drug detection apparatuses at about $25 for each roadside kit. So here we are. We've got this pilot program. Obviously, it's pretty expensive, and it's only being debuted in 4 different counties through a select training program provided to certain select officers. So my question is, let's say it all goes good, and they want to go ahead and adopt the program, which is probably not the case, but it probably will be getting adopted. How much is this program going to cost us, taxpayers, to be rolled out to the whole state? And what exactly is going to be the benefit of that? Officers already have the same ability to pull someone over. It doesn't change that. They still have the same ability to do their own roadside test. So why are we just all of a sudden deciding to spend money and throw money at a program that is completely unnecessary? That's what I want to ask. I think it's insane. But unfortunately, it's already been passed by the Senate, and now it's waiting for the governor's signature. So here we are. That's Michigan politics for you. And I just think the program's crap. It says that the 4 or 5 counties that this will be rolled out in will be picked based on their drug driving percentages. So they'll look at reports from the past, see who's got the worst percentage of offenses, and then basically, select those counties for, implementation. But come on. How many toys do these guys need? We need more officers. We don't need more officers with more toys. Everybody would tell you that. And especially a roadside drug testing program. Did they mention that in order to conduct this test, it takes 30 minutes? So you're going to be sticking people on the side of the road for half an hour while they wait to get their drug test results? That probably 50% chance that they're not even accurate? This is a big money waster. All right. Anyways, moving on here. There's not a whole lot you can do other than hope that the governor vetoes the pending legislation. or doesn't sign the bill, I know it's not good. All right, it's not. What can I do? I don't know. All right, we'll move on. We'll go talk about another state so that at least we can end on a positive note. Okay, it looks like our good folks out on the East Coast in Massachusetts will be going ahead with their legalization program. Let me pull this up here for you. Apologize, but I was running low on battery power. Let's see here. Okay, it says here this is from The Cannabist, and this is dealing with, like I said, Massachusetts. What else is good? Lobster, right? Lobster?
I guess that's actually Maine's better for that.
Oh, Maine. Yeah, what am I thinking?
But Maine and Massachusetts used to be close together. They used to be one state. I don't know if you knew that or not, or one territory.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I thought it was 13 original colonies, right?
But that was, well, they actually, it was, but it was actually one part of the same
Maine
territory.
was a part of Massachusetts.
So,
right.
yeah. I don't know actually, other than the Kennedys, what the Massachusetts Acts produce.
Is it Boston in Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Well, then there you go.
Baked beans, I guess, right?
All right. Sounds like a pretty cool place because Massachusetts, if you don't know, has had a pretty well-ran medical marijuana program in it for now. People seem to be pretty liberal there as far as when it comes to dealing with marijuana in general. And it looks like they're going to take that at the next step. Says here there's a proposal that could make the Massachusetts the 5th U.S. state to legalize the recreational use of marijuana for adult use, of course. Jim Borghesani, I apologize if I'm not saying it correctly, spokesman for a campaign to regulate marijuana like alcohol, said late Tuesday that the group planned to turn in more than 25,000 signatures to city and town clerks around the state ahead of a 5 p.m. deadline. So, interesting there. You know, right here in Michigan, we had the same ballot process going on. I think they turned in close to 360,000 signatures, and the State Board of Canvassers basically threw it in the garbage and said, not enough. And in Massachusetts, they're talking 25,000 signatures. So apparently it's a little easier to get things done. Massachusetts is obviously a lot smaller geographically, has a lot less amount of people living in the state, but it seems to be a little bit more common sense construction going on there when it comes to their legislation versus what's happening here in our state. And I think it's also kind of interesting that they already have a medical marijuana program. It is functioning, and I've heard good, positive things about that program. In order to take it to the recreational level is when they're going to start to move into regulation similar and based upon alcohol-based models. And I'd like to point out that here in Michigan, that might not be a bad program if it were for recreational purposes. However, right now what's been proposed in the past here in Michigan is an alcohol tiered system like what we have already, but for the medicinal side, nothing to do with recreational. And that's a problem because the people who depend on this medicinally need it. They need specialized care. They need one-on-one action. They also need to have somebody directly handling their medication for them. And, when you move into this type of a tiered system, what we're looking at is a commercialized industry that is really based around one thing, which is profit. And I think one of the benefits of Michigan's patient caregiver system is that it is purely based around the patient, which is what it should be. Patients' needs should come first above all others, even including the cost to produce the medication itself. Because at the end of the day, if it weren't about the patients, we wouldn't have the medicine. So
your people like Rick Jones and all these other people seem to want, even though they're expert in law, because I guess they're lawyers and stuff, but they don't seem to be, they're so reluctant to actually admit that actually there is a positive medicinal benefits to using marijuana, even despite the wealth information coming out.
Yeah, well, even, Rick Jones has been talked to many times by a lot of different cannabis activists here in Michigan, and, he has said he understands there's people out there that need it. He can understand the efficacy of the medication. But above that, and above anything else, what Mr. Jones wants is law and order. And you can actually look it up in the paper. It's a quote from his lips. So above all else, that's what that man thinks is important, is law and order. And, coming from a background of law enforcement, I guess you could say that you would expect to hear that from that type of person. My question is this man is a senator, someone who should be able to think outside of just law enforcement. And that's why we have senators, and then we have this separate position, which is called a police officer. I'm not a fan of big government, and I think that people should be self-regulated. I think that when it comes to dealing with, again, medical marijuana, the ultimate first priority should always be the patient. And when we're trying to ensure that businesses get their digs in and things are weighed and measured so that it doesn't get into the wrong hands, not that these things can be bad things, but again, the primary focus should be on the patient. So when we start manipulating what the patient gets or how that service will relate to their needs, then we need to take a step back at what we're actually trying to regulate. So, all right, that's what I got for you guys this week. I hope you enjoyed the news and information. I hope you can join me next week. I want to say thanks again to the 120-second segments. Brian did an awesome job on that, and I'm glad you guys are able to check that out. I also want to say thanks again to John, the man behind the camera who makes this happen, makes all these things happen here. And thanks to you down at the Genesee County Compassion Club, because you guys really make it happen. All right, everybody, stay cool out there. Be careful. Nobody passing out a heat stroke. You can't have that going on. Make sure you water your plants because they won't last long in this heat. And catch me here next week on the Genesee County Compassion Club show. Thanks a lot. Have a good one. See ya.